The phrase every Space Marine rank gets read as a ladder. Scout at the bottom, captain near the top, maybe chapter master if you survive long enough. Badges accumulating, authority expanding, respect earned through blood and decades. That mental picture is clean. It's also useless. Rank inside the Adeptus Astartes isn't a career structure. It's a sequence of narrowing apertures, each one calibrated to absorb a specific type of failure the Imperium has decided not to solve any other way. The Codex Astartes doesn't chart ambition, it allocates damage. A scout exists to learn what kills recruits before full implantation commits resources. A chaplain exists because morale collapse is cheaper to prevent than repair. A chapter. Master exists because someone has to sign deployment orders that can't be unsigned. And the Imperium prefers that signature come from someone who's already stopped asking why. Each rank corresponds to a problem: physical attrition, doctrinal drift, logistical breakdown, moral hesitation. The system solves these problems by making them someone's permanent job. Advancement doesn't broaden your options. It replaces one set of constraints with a tighter one, strapped closer to the spine, encoded deeper in reflex. The ranks work. That's not propaganda. They actually work. 10,000 years of continuous warfare filtered through a hierarchy that turns human beings into reliable interfaces. The question isn't whether the system functions. It's what happens to the people it functions through. This is the part nobody advertises. Translation: you don't climb the ranks, you get compressed into them. Officially, the structure is about clarity. The Codex Astartes lays out a chain of command designed to prevent confusion under fire, preserve genetic lineage, and maintain doctrinal consistency across centuries. Scouts learn by exposure, bleeding under supervision until their bodies either stabilize or fail. Battle Brothers execute without hesitation, their conditioning smoothed down to muscle memory and litany. Sergeants coordinate squads through Vox discipline and real-time threat assessment. Captains command companies, balancing resources against objectives on battlefields light years apart. The chapter master holds the whole structure together, embodying continuity when everyone else is replaceable. Specialist ranks exist to protect specific assets. An apothecary safeguards gene seed. The chapter's genetic future carried in shock foam cases and extracted under fire. A tech marine maintains war gear, half his loyalty pledged to the Adeptus Mechanicus, nights spent reciting Martian canticles beside stripped dreadnought chassis. A chaplain preserves morale and belief, his skull helm reflecting lumen strips in the Reclusium, while he memorizes litanies designed to leave no room for doubt. Use the Ultramarines as the template. On Macragge, this all looks elegant. Training cages echo with controlled bolt impacts. Servo skulls drift between drill squares. Armor gets blessed, repaired, reblessed. Companies rotate through deployment with the precision of shift work. Blame becomes unnecessary because responsibility is explicit. When orders are clear, cohesion survives. When cohesion survives, the chapter endures. On paper, it's not just efficient, it's beautiful. That's the deal. In practice, rank functions as a workload filter welded to a body that can't opt out. A Battle Brothers day starts in the Armorium before dawn. Ceramite joints inspected, power pack charged, bolter blessed, and test fired into a ballistic trap. Then live drills. Then tactical briefings delivered in flat Gothic while hololith projections flicker over scarred deck plating. Then maintenance rites. Then more drills. His hearing is a constant Vox hiss. His air tastes like recycled incense and lubricant vapor. Recoil absorbs through adamantine bracing grafted to his ribs, not through muscle. There is no off-duty. There is scheduled rest between cycles. A sergeant's job is casualty math. He spends more time reading kill tallies and equipment loss reports than he does fighting. His squad is a resource pool. When one Marine falls, he redistributes ammunition, reassigns fire sectors, and updates the captain via Vox without breaking stride. Grief is a malfunction. Pride is useful only if it drives compliance. A tech marine splits his time between the chapter and Mars. Mechadendrites click against bulkheads while he performs rites the codex doesn't cover, his thoughts half translated into binaric logic strings. A servo harness bites into his spine. His senses route through auspex overlays and olfactory analyzers that detect lubricant oxidation from 3 meters away. When a Land Raider's engine misfires, he hears it as a personal accusation. A chaplain doesn't just enforce belief, he embodies it. Hours beneath hanging sensors in the reclusium, memorizing litanies older than most planetary governments, internalizing doctrine until doubt registers as heresy by autonomic reflex. When a brother hesitates, the chaplain doesn't counsel, he corrects. The skull helm isn't decorative. It's a deliberate reminder that the role survives the man. An apothecary hears gene seed vials clink inside his armor as casualties mount. Recovery priorities are set before battles begin. A living Marine with catastrophic wounds gets triage. A dead Marine with intact progenoid glands gets harvested. Gene seed is the mission. The body is secondary. Blood dries on his gauntlets under cold hanger lights while he loads vials into stasis foam, each one labeled and logged. This is where the job stops being about war and starts being about upkeep. Nobody calls it a sacrifice when it's scheduled. Each rank up removes an alternative you didn't realize you still had. Start with the physical: heavier war gear, permanent augmetics, neural conditioning that narrows reflexes toward compliance. A Terminator-rated veteran wears tactical dreadnought armor that weighs more than some combat vehicles, its joints singing with microservos, his peripheral vision reduced to slit displays. A captain's command throne is bolted to a warship's bridge, surrounded by cogitator banks and hololith projectors, throwing real-time casualty feeds across 3 theaters. He reads loss like a supply ledger. Companies become expendable assets. Extraction windows close based on fuel margins, not survivor counts. Then, the psychological cost. A chaplain's conditioning goes deeper than training. He internalizes the chapter's belief structure until it replaces personal judgment. When a brother questions orders, the chaplain doesn't debate theology. He applies correction, liturgical, and absolute. Doubt isn't a thought to process. It's a symptom to purge. A sergeant learns when to spend lives without flinching. Not because he's cruel, because hesitation kills squads faster than enemy fire. The math is simple. 5 Marines suppressing a gun emplacement die slower than 10 Marines frozen in cover. He makes that call in the time it takes to exhale. Then he moves on. A captain authorizes purges he'll never witness. Exterminatus adjacent deployments. Civilian zones reclassified as combat zones because extraction costs more than bombardment. He signs off on these actions from a command dais lit by flickering pick screens, surrounded by serfs whose only job is to keep casualty reports current. The decisions aren't monstrous. They're procedural. Finally, the moral requirement. Command removes exit ramps. A chapter master signs deployment orders that cannot be recalled. He seals pacts with Forge Worlds, trading autonomy for resupply because chapters that refuse those pacts stop fielding functional armor inside a decade. He authorizes recruiting tithes from planets that will remember him as the angel of death for generations. Each rank accepts a smaller set of acceptable answers. By the time you reach Chapter Master, your authority is total and your choices are 3. Deploy, delay, or sacrifice one company to save another. You cannot choose a different kind of war. The war chose itself centuries ago. The system perpetuates because failure justifies intensification. A disastrous campaign doesn't discredit doctrine. It proves the need for stricter adherence. When the Black Templars reject the Codex's numerical limits, they don't escape the structure. They replace written strictures with oaths and eternal crusades, intensifying hierarchy instead of dismantling it. Their chaplains grip Crozius Arcanum blessed in soot-dark chapels, their vows harder than regulation, their attrition rate higher. When a watch captain at Watch Fortress Ariok burns through kill teams, the solution is more tithe, more training, more rank distinctions, not fewer deployments, not shorter rotations, more. Because the Death Watch measures success by xenocide tallies, and those tallies justify everything upstream. Reform would require admitting that ranks produce the conditions they're meant to control. That admission has nowhere to live. The Imperium doesn't have an institution empowered to say, this hierarchy generates its own casualties. It has the Inquisition, which measures loyalty. It has the Administratum, which measures supply flow. It has the Ecclesiarchy, which measures faith. None of them measure whether the system should exist. So the ladder keeps grinding. Fallen brothers justify new aspirants. Worn war gear justifies deeper ties to Mars. Shaken morale justifies harsher sermons. A war room hololith flickers with campaign markers layered over older markers. Purity seals pasted over cracked purity seals. The whole edifice held together by precedent and survival. Failure doesn't stop it. Failure feeds it. The end state isn't martyrdom, it's precision. A fully ranked chapter operates like a sealed engine room. Hot, loud, and intolerant of deviation. Vox channels saturate with overlapping orders, sergeants reporting contact, apothecaries confirming extractions, tech marines requesting resupply, captains adjusting fire corridors in real time. Cogitators tick through casualty projections. Banners get repaired with mismatched threads salvaged from older campaigns. Individuals blur into roles. The captain's voice over the Vox is indistinguishable from the order itself. The apothecary's hands move before the body hits the deck. The tech marine hears a misaligned actuator and begins corrections without conscious thought. At the top, a chapter master sits in a reliquary-lined sanctum, surrounded by heraldry plates bolted into stone, each one scratched and remounted over centuries. He has total authority. He also has fewer options than a scout ever did. He can deploy Third Company to a contested agri-world. He can delay reinforcements to preserve gene seed stocks. He can sacrifice one strike force to cover another's extraction. He cannot redefine the mission. He cannot negotiate peace. He cannot choose a war the Imperium isn't already fighting. The system has already chosen for him. His job is to execute that choice without introducing variables. Survival looks like continuity, not victory. What is lost permanently is optionality, personal judgment, alternative futures, the ability to stop. There was never another possible result. So what is it like to be every Space Marine rank? It's not a tour of experiences, it's a map of constraints. Scout to battle, brother to sergeant to captain to chapter master. Each promotion seats you deeper inside a machine that trades flexibility for reliability. Rank doesn't elevate you above the system. It integrates you further into it. Each insignia marks a task the Imperium refuses to question, carried by someone engineered not to question it either. The ranks work. They produce violence at scale, preserve genetic continuity across millennia, and maintain doctrinal coherence through galactic collapse. They work because they remove choice. They must keep working because the Imperium cannot afford alternatives. A ceremonial pauldron sits in a reliquary somewhere, its edge worn smooth by centuries of reissue. The name inscribed on it has been recarved 4 times. The rank it represents hasn't changed once. That's the system. That's every rank. That's the deal.